What's going on, guys? It's Intoxicated Alien here, and today we're gonna analyze Donnie Darko's Mirror Universe. But before that, make sure to like, subscribe, and if there's any films you want me to analyze in the future, make sure to comment them down below. Donnie Darko is a science fiction psychological thriller directed in 2001 by Richard Kelly. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal as Donnie Darko, a troubled teen who gets his life saved by a mysterious figure in a bunny rabbit costume. This figure, named Frank, tells Donnie that the world is going to end in a few weeks, and that with Frank's guidance, he must save the world. Before we get into what I believe the film is about, let's explore the technical aspects. With gorgeous landscape shots and in-depth close-ups, Donnie Darko is a visually aesthetic film. Although the film was shot in 2001, it captures the 80s style perfectly, from the clothing to the props, and most importantly, the music. Featuring songs such as The Killing Moon and Head Over Heels, Donnie Darko's soundtrack consists of songs containing lyrics about the themes of the film, such as fate and time travel. The first time I watched Donnie Darko was my sophomore year in high school. My father used to bring me to pawn shops where I would find films, and that's where I found Donnie Darko. Upon watching it for the first time, I really had no idea what it was about, but its atmosphere and psychological aspects really fascinated me. Over the years, I would watch it multiple times, and each time develop my own theories. They seemed to change after each viewing. Recently, I got the director's cut, which stripped away a lot of the ambiguity and provided a lot of context on what's happening. Donnie Darko consists of two timelines, the primary universe and the mirror universe. This mirror universe is where most of the film takes place in, and is where the opening scene transpires. In this mirror universe, Donnie Darko wakes up in the middle of the road. It's been implied that he's experiencing bouts of sleepwalking. He bikes home, and later that night, he sleepwalks again. This time, however, consists of a figure in a bunny rabbit suit named Frank. Frank tells him that the world will end in 28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, and 12 seconds. He wakes up in the middle of a golf course, and goes home to find out that a plane engine has fallen into his house, particularly in his room. This tells the audience that Frank has saved his life. It's revealed that the government has no idea where this plane engine came from, and that's because it's not meant to be in this universe, which I will explain later on in the analysis. Over the next few days, Donnie continues to have visions of Frank, who tells him to do dangerous acts, such as flooding the school. This causes Donnie to meet Gretchen, the new girl in town who becomes his girlfriend. Keep these events in mind as they will have a huge impact on the big picture. Later, Donnie gets drunk with his friends and sees an old woman almost get run over by a car. This old lady, nicknamed Grandma Death, walks back and forth across the street, checking the mail over and over. Donnie Darko himself has an instance where he almost runs Grandma Death over. He walks over to her to investigate, where she whispers something in his ear. Later, it's revealed that she whispered, "Every living creature on this earth dies alone." Next, we follow Donnie through his daily school life. In English class, Donnie studies a short story named The Destruction. In the short story, children break into an old person's house, burning their money and flooding the house altogether. These acts of burning and flooding are a reference to the acts that Frank tells Donnie to do. The next class is PE, where Donnie watches motivational videos starring Jim Cunningham, played by no other than Patrick Swayze. This scene perfectly captures that cheesy, corny vibe of those motivational videos they show you in middle school about puberty or whatever. This scene also foreshadows Jim Cunningham's predatory aspects as he literally grabs a child's butt. With Frank talking about time travel, Donnie brings the topic to his science teacher, Dr. Monotov. Monotov hands Donnie a book called The Philosophy of Time Travel, written by Roberta Sparrow, also known as Grandma Death. Later, Donnie experiences one of the phenomenons in the book, liquid columns that expand out the chest of the people around him, predicting their fate. Donnie brings the concept to Dr. Monotov, where they have a debate over fate, free will in particular. Here, we see clear signs that Dr. Monotov is an atheist. The first clue that we get that he's an atheist is when Donnie brings up the concept of portals. He says that they could appear at anywhere at any time. Dr. Monotov disagrees, however, as that would be an act of God. The second hint that we get that he's an atheist is when the conversation shifts to the concept of free will. Donnie claims that a visualization of your fate, such as the sphere coming out your chest, would be a form of time travel. Dr. Monotov disagrees, however, as that would give you the choice to betray your chosen destinies. This causes Donnie to raise his voice, claiming that that wouldn't happen if you chose to follow God's channel. At this point, Dr. Monotov cuts the conversation short out of fear that he might lose his job. This is most likely because he doesn't want to express how he truly feels. With Dr. Monotov's comments on free will, keep in mind that when Donnie was experiencing this phenomenon with the liquid columns, it led him to his parents' bedroom, where he found a gun. Donnie knew the severity of grabbing the gun, but decided to follow through with it because a higher entity wanted him to. Next, Jim Cunningham visits Donnie's school, where he questions Donnie. Donnie calls him the fucking Antichrist, which is so amazing, by the way. Later on that day, Donnie finds Jim Cunningham's wallet and address with the help of Frank. Donnie goes to the movie theater with his girlfriend, Gretchen, to see The Evil Dead. There, he sees Frank once again. This time, however, he has one of his eyes shot out. Frank tells Donnie to burn down Jim Cunningham's house, and Donnie obeys. While putting out the fire, firefighters discover a child pornography hoard in his basement. This results in Cunningham getting arrested. Donnie Darko's PE teacher, Mrs. Farmer, decided to testify in his defense, leaving Donnie's mom to chaperone the dance trip that his little sister was supposed to have. This recital and competition was to be set in Los Angeles. With their parents gone for business, Donnie and his sister Elizabeth throw a party to celebrate Elizabeth's acceptance into Harvard. At the party, Gretchen visits in distress because her mother is missing. Here, Donnie gets visions of the future and realizes that the end of the world is only a couple hours away. Now knowing what Donnie has to do, he takes Gretchen and two of his friends to go visit Grandma Death. Instead of finding her, however, they find two high school bullies robbing her house. In a scuffle between them and the bullies, Gretchen gets run over and dies instantly by a car driving by. The driver gets out of the car and it's revealed to be Frank, the bunny. This is not the Frank that we've experienced the whole film, however, as his eye is uninjured. This is because this is the human Frank. Out of anger, Donnie uses the gun that he found earlier and shoots Frank in the face. Donnie carries Gretchen's dead body home and loads her into his parents' car. He then drives to a cliff overseeing the town. Overlooking the town, Donnie forms a vortex. With the vortex in sight, a plane flew over. This plane consisted of Donnie's mom and his sister going to LA. Donnie then uses telekinesis and rips the engine out of the plane. This engine and the water that he used from flooding the school is used to create a portal into the primary universe. Now we switch into this primary universe. In this universe, Frank doesn't save Donnie and Donnie ends up getting crushed by the plane engine. The film then shows all the characters experiencing visions of themselves in the alternate timeline. Gretchen then drives by Donnie's house, where she comes eye to eye with Donnie's mom. They don't know each other in this universe, but they subconsciously recognize each other as they knew each other in the alternate timeline. And that's where the film ends. Now, onto my analysis. So I had a script written for this whole video, but once I got to this part, I couldn't write it down. It's too complicated. I can't figure out the right way to word it. I was like, fuck it, I'll just improvise. I even wrote like a little visual representation to help me describe it. I need that much help. Okay. So in the primary universe, there was like a glitch, kind of like a glitch in the Matrix. And during this glitch, a plane engine was created out of an already made plane engine, like a duplicate. The duplicate gets sent through the fourth dimension into a parallel universe. This glitch happened over Donnie Darko's house, so Donnie Darko gets chosen as the chosen one. So the engine is supposed to fall in Donnie's house and crush him, but he gets saved by Frank, who is a manipulated dead. Frank then tells Donnie to do all these acts, such as flooding the school, burning down Jim Cunningham's house. All this stuff needs to happen so that ultimately Donnie shoots Frank. With Frank being dead, he gets the ability of the manipulated dead and has the ability to go back in time and save Donnie's life. Donnie then uses telekinesis and the water that he used from flooding the school to send the jet engine back into the primary universe. In the primary universe, Donnie doesn't get saved by Frank because Frank isn't a manipulated dead. He's still alive. So when the engine falls into Donnie's house, Donnie just dies. And that's where the film ends. Oh, I hope that makes sense. Comment your own theories down below. I'm curious to hear your interpretations, as there could be a bazillion. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you want to watch more, click right here to become an alien.